Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the ICG's Digital Academy webinar series. I'm Sally Alsop, the ICG committee member responsible for running our webinar programme. In today's webinar, we'll be welcoming back Eugene Murphy, founder and CEO of Indeemo. This time, Eugene will be talking to us about remote qualitative research strategies, and more specifically, how you can use mobile diary studies to understand, map and quantify user or shopper experiences for omni-channel user and shopper journeys. You'll, as usual, have a chance to ask Eugene some questions during and after his presentation. So please type them into the question box as we go through so that I can read them out when appropriate. Eugene would also, no, we decided to drop that. So Indeemo have recently dropped their prices, but are offering a 15% discount until the end of the year, to the 31st of December, to ICG members watching this webinar. We're really grateful to Perspective for sponsoring this webinar. Perspective Research Services provide help at every stage of the data journey as an end-to-end experience or simply to dip into when needed. They operate one of the largest independent call centres in the UK and state-of-the-art viewing facilities in the heart of London. They provide qualitative recruitment, face-to-face fieldwork, B2B mystery shopping and data processing services. Before I hand over to Eugene, here are the next webinars to note in your diaries. Some of these are already open for registration on our website. And don't forget that we're able to offer great value sponsorship opportunities with each of the webinars. Sponsorship normally costs £100 for a lot of exposure on our website, mailers and social media, and of course on the day. So if you'd like to know more about that, please contact Lucy. So our speaker today is Eugene Murphy from Indeemo. And Eugene, if you're ready, I'll now hand over to you.
Excellent, fantastic. So good morning, everybody, and thanks for taking the time to come to the webinar here this morning. So just to kick things off, because I know people are busy, right? So I think I was talking to Lucy and Sally, and then the kind of macro context here, just as a kind of a metaphor for where we are with this whole new normal, is, you know, the FedEx guy is turning up at my front gate every morning, and you know, when we talked to him, he says it's been like Christmas since March. Okay, so that is basically real life data that retail and commerce has moved online. Okay, and you know, we see more and more lockdowns in France now this morning, and we've been in a lockdown here for the last 2 weeks in Ireland. So the high street is shut, and we're getting into the context of Black Friday and Singles Day next week, and the holiday season. So there's going to be a massive digital transformation in shopping and commerce generally. Okay, and we've seen this happening for years. But obviously, if you go to the likes of the McKinseys or the Bains or the Accentures, you know, they've been talking about it for years as well. But it's just been accelerated massively since COVID. Okay, and I think it was always something that businesses should do, but now it's something that businesses must do. Okay, and certainly it's no different for the research industry. So, you know, face-to-face research is very difficult to undertake right now. So what we're seeing as well is a massive digital transformation with people moving online and moving to mobile. And hopefully this presentation here today will speak to a greater economic context, but also how a technology like Indeemo can help you evolve your service offering to help your clients make that digital transition as well. Okay, so certainly, again, you know, people used to talk about online, they talk about e-commerce. You know, certainly the new normal has made omni-channel a buzzword again. We've been talking about it for 2 or 3 years, but it's here right now, and it's forced basically. And again, if you want to get some background reading on this, there's a couple of articles there on McKinsey just talking about this. I think it's very, very interesting to see this happening. But what you know, this is actually pre-COVID presentation from McKinsey, and they were projecting 5 to 15% increase in revenue for people that embrace omni-channel personalization. I would say that metric is much higher now. Okay, so again, there's some very interesting reading out there if you have some time to do some broader research. Okay, so understanding omni-channel journeys is hard, right? And I think you know, historically, if you're a client with a digital offering, you know, what you're seeing really is you're seeing something like this. So this is Google Analytics journey map. Okay, so I've been looking at these things for years and I can't make head nor tail out of them, right? So if you're an e-commerce business or a business trying to digitize, then really the metaphor is, right, you stop looking at your customer face to face and now you're trying to figure them out through this kind of journey map here on Google Analytics. And that might tell you pages they're visiting, that might tell you how they're moving through the website, but it won't tell you why. So there's this massive influx of analytics and logs and then a vacuum of human data. Okay, and what we're trying to do really is we're trying to help you bring the human back into this data set so that you can start to make sense of these flows and maybe put some video and stuff on top to try and figure out why people are doing what they're doing here on this journey map. Okay, if you can make head nor tail of it, right? So customers will come to you and say, look, well, what's my omni-channel journey? What does it look like? We need to figure out omni-channel. We need to figure out online. So they'll be very platform centric. So we need to do mobile, we need to do social, we need to do e-commerce. But actually, I think they're asking the wrong question. What they need to be asking here basically is, what's the human journey? Okay. If we jump back up, so you've got the frame, you're thinking about the human. So it's not about online or social or mobile. It's about that person going on a human journey to try and figure out, you know, what's the best product out there, to compare prices, to figure out if they're going to buy it online or buy it in store. Okay, so we're very human-centric in our thinking, from both the perspective of we don't believe that AI is going to transform the industry. It takes humans to understand humans, and I think there's again this kind of narrative out there that AI is going to answer all the questions. It's not. Okay, you need to get human beings showing you how they're behaving in the moment in their everyday lives so that you can start to make sense of these larger data sets. Okay, so if we take omni-channel to explain it through the kind of the scaffolding of a mattress buying journey, this is typically the type of data that we can help you capture. Okay, so somebody's thinking about buying a new mattress, it starts here. Okay, so this is real life. You know, bed isn't fixed, it's not perfect, it's gritty, it's grey, it's real. Somebody's got a problem, you know, they've had a bad night's sleep and now they're trying to get, you know, trying to figure out how to get a new mattress. Okay, so we get you into their homes, we get you into their lives so you can see what's really going on and see the context of the decision that they've just made. Okay, what they'll probably do is they'll probably go on Google and do a quick search for best something. Okay, and with mobile screen recording, what we can do is we can help you understand what they're searching for and what Google is presenting and how they go down the rabbit holes of their search results. And again, I'll show that to you later. Typically, you'll probably have visited some website and before you know, a cookie has been dropped and suddenly you're getting ads on Facebook which are creeping you out, saying, you know, buy my mattress basically. And what you're seeing here now is there's a call to action to shop on Facebook. So what are the channels here? The channels here now were Google, they're mobile, but now they're actually social as well. So this is now the journey starting to build up. What you find then typically is that, you know, they've made the decision, now they're going into comparison mode. So they'll probably go on to desktop. So what we find is for larger, more complex purchases, for example, if you're buying toothpaste, you'll do that on mobile in a single tap. But if you're buying a $700 mattress, you'll probably go to the desktop and do some serious comparison. You'll have multiple tabs open and you'll be toggling between websites. So again, what Indeemo does is basically capture a picture of somebody looking at a website on their desktop, where they're showing you what they're looking at and how they're comparing products. Okay. Inevitably, for a purchase like that, they'll go in store. They'll walk around, they'll get bamboozled by 50 different mattresses. They'll probably walk away no clearer than they ever were. You know, they'll go back online maybe later when they're at home, fatigued from shopping all day long, and then they'll see something on Casper.com, and this guy's saying, like, you know, it's like sleeping on a cloud. Before you know it, they don't want to go shopping again. They've just transacted and happy days, right? So I've just made my purchase. I've looked at the Casper website. My bedroom is going to look like this. It's going to be awesome. No, it's not, because the reality is the box will probably drop off the back of a truck and it'll look like this. And you'll spend the next 2 or 3 hours trying to put the mattress together like this. Okay, so the images we're showing you here would be pretty typical of the data we can help you capture. Okay, and the omni-channel nature of this is it's a mobile search on Google, it's a call to action to shop on Facebook, it's a desktop comparison, it's an in-store walkabout, and then you're assembling the product at home. Okay, so that's a typical omni-channel journey from our perspective. Hopefully it gives you an idea of what's going on. And what we do at Indeemo is we give you a technology to help you remotely research, purchase journeys or customer experiences or consumer behavior on behalf of your clients. Okay, and we do this with many different offerings, right? So this all sounds really, really complex, like a massive thing, really. But what we're doing is we're just connecting you to that respondent, that consumer in the moment, so they can show you what's really going on. So we can help you for foundational and exploratory research, week in the life diary studies, day in the life diary studies. Certainly, if you've transitioned to Zoom to do your IDIs and focus groups now, we're seeing a huge swing to using a technology like Indeemo to pre-task ahead of your synchronous IDIs. So the combination of asynchronous diary studies or qual using something like Indeemo, and then doing a follow-up IDI on Zoom where you can probe the data you've captured using our technology is extremely powerful. We think that's probably the new normal for remote qual. Other capabilities like bringing segmentations to life with video diaries, remote usability research. You can use this for in-home product testing. We do a lot of customer journey stuff now, whether it's a path to purchase or an existing customer experience. Okay, and it works in every industry and sector, consumer and B2B. Another big thing that's trending right now is healthcare. Obviously, we're doing a lot of healthcare research. So you're sitting here, so this is great, right? So how do you work with us to offer your clients a service to help them understand these journeys? So this is the workflow of a typical study that we would help you support. Okay, so your recruitment, it will typically take 1 to 2 weeks. So nothing changes with respect to recruitment. Okay, so it's still a qualitative recruit. It's the same recruiter you work with for your IDIs and your focus groups and your shop alongs all the time. Okay, it's focus group money. So instead of getting 90 minutes with them in a room, you're probably getting 90 minutes with them over 7 days. Okay, so the incentive is broadly the same. Okay, it's just that the research is taking place remotely. And again, it's probably worth talking about that. In that IDI, you get 90 minutes synchronously to try and figure them out on Zoom when they're sitting at their desk. With asynchronous qual, you get 90 minutes with them over 7 days where they walk you about their house, walk you about a shop using their smartphone. So you get to kind of walk with them, follow their journey, understand their context. So you get to spend more time with them. And you get to capture repetitive behaviors as well. Okay, so recruitment is the same as it always is. What we'll do is we'll give you a quote up front. You'll kick off your recruitment and your screener. We'll give you information for that. And then basically we'll jump on a call with you either before you recruit or during, where we'll take the brief and we'll help you basically structure it into our technology. So we'll help you design tasking to answer the business questions. Okay, you'll go in, you'll fill out a Word doc, you'll send us your version 1, we'll do a track changes, we'll jump on a quick call. So we're very collaborative in terms of making sure that you're designing tasks in an optimal way for our technology. We'll do the heavy lifting on the project setup, and then basically the respondents in your study will get the app for a week or 2 weeks or whatever the duration of your study to complete the tasks and upload information, photos, videos, text, screen recordings, and you can interact with them for that week. Okay, now we do all the tech support for you, your colleagues, your clients, and your respondents. At the end of the fieldwork, you then get access to our dashboard for an additional 6 weeks to do the analysis and reporting. The clients can actually get logins as well. And at the end, we export the data back to you. You own it 100%, and then we delete the data from the platform. So that's a typical workflow for you doing a study like this. Okay, and those are the timelines that are typically involved. Right, so once the study is set up and once you've recruited your respondents, then you invite the respondents to take part, and then they're using our app, which you can see here on screen. So the best way to describe it is a bit like Instagram with a bunch of tasks. Okay, super simple to use, feels like a social networking app. What they're doing is that over the course of a week or a day or even a month, they're completing tasks and uploading photos, videos, screen recordings are open in the text. So it's like an interactive digital diary of their behaviors around a particular research topic. We're very good at video. I think we're probably best in class at video. So we can help you, we can get respondents to upload videos that are 10 minutes at a time per upload. So, you know, point to purchase, screen recordings, whatever you want. We're very robust when it comes to video. Videos compressed on the device, It's uploaded small file sizes, so again, it's very, very configurable, and as I said, very robust. It works on smartphones, so what they'll need is an iPhone or an Android. It also works on tablets, okay? Now, what we also help you do, and this is where the omni-channel comes in, is with this screen recording capability. So I've obviously muted this for the presentation here today, but what you're seeing here is somebody searching Google for what's happening in Madison Square Garden. So what we're extremely good at is helping you get that picture of the bedroom and the status quo of that mattress, and then we're helping you record that Google search. And then what we do is we can record how they're navigating Google for up to 10 minutes at a time. You get to watch them search, you get to see what ads are displayed, you get to hear their voices, you get to see them shop, you get to see them search, you get to see them compare, okay? And all of these data in the online, offline, in-store, it's all fused into one contiguous timeline. So you can follow their journey post by post, platform by platform, and you can present that back to your clients as one, as I say, contiguous journey of their customer. Okay, so again, this is really, really powerful for remote usability. How do people search a category, competitor analysis, how do people shop on Amazon? So anything that happens on the screen of a smartphone, we can record it and we can capture their voices. They do, and the power of this is you get to hear the television in the background. They're not in the lab with you looking over their shoulder. They're much more natural and neutral, and what they're saying and what they're doing is much more representative of normal behavior. Okay. Tasking, basically, I'll take you through this in detail shortly, but this is what a typical task looks like. And I'll show you some task examples for a click and collect journey in a food ordering experience shortly. So what you're doing is you're giving them tasks and you're asking them to show you what they're doing. They're tapping on the plus button, they're choosing photo, video, note, or screen recording, and they're recording their behavior in the moment, okay? Everything is then uploaded onto a dashboard that looks like Pinterest, but works like a private one-to-one Facebook. So you get to see all the information on a single dashboard uploaded in real time from all of your respondents. Okay, I'll show you this on a demo again shortly. Very powerful in terms of filters. You can filter across the entire project or an individual respondent or a specific task. You can also comment on their post. So if they've said something interesting and you want to probe it, you can type a comment here. That sends a push notification straight to their app, just like a private one-to-one Facebook comment, and then when they reply, you get a notification here on the dashboard as well. So it's asynchronous, it's one-to-one, it's private, and as a result of it not being a group interaction, respondents are much more authentic. They're less curated, they're much more open when they know there's nobody else watching. Okay. And finally, then getting into the journey specifics, what we have on journey mapping projects is we have the ability to configure a 5-point scale for the entire journey of the respondent. So what we can do is you can configure the scale. It can be just an emoji, it could be an emoji with text, it could be just text, it could be just a number. And what we do is we force respondents to rate their experience at every milestone of their journey. So what you're getting is almost an in the moment net promoter score for every touch point. Okay, so they rate the searching for takeout, that's a screen recording. They do a screen recording, they order their meal. They take a video and talk about the delivery experience. They take a picture of the food, they talk about the quality of the food, and then they talk about their overall experience. So this is a typical structure of a linear user journey. And what we're doing is we're giving them the ability to rate their experience, and then they show you why it's positive or negative. So you can probe this dip in the customer journey and go and see the screen recordings or the videos and actually interrogate why that's a negative touch point. Okay. So that's pretty much how it works, right? So I'm going to take you through a couple of examples here now. One is a food ordering experience, kind of Deliveroo Uber Eats journey, and the other one is click and collect, where you give them a shopping mission to buy something online, go collect that, go home and go cook it. Okay, so when we talk about the food ordering experience, right? So I'll leave this here for a second, right? So this is a typical task. You're trying to figure out what's a task here. A couple of rules of thumb. So they really shouldn't be any longer than a tweet. Okay, so if you're used to doing desktop qual or desktop online qual, you can probably write essays, and then the respondents can write essays as well, right? Because they're on a screen, they can see the question, they can reflect and get deep and meaningful and write a lot of text. Mobile is different, okay? And why? Because the screen is so small, okay? So if you get them scrolling, the task that would look okay on a desktop will be lots of scrolling on mobile. So what you have to do really is if you rethink how you design your tasks and make them much more granular. Okay, so I'll show you a project now in a minute. I'll jump into the dashboard, but this basically is what the tasking looked like for this Deliveroo Uber Eats project, which I'll show you shortly. Short tasks, no longer than the tweet, usually 3 questions in each task max, and you're very succinct in terms of what you want them to do. Okay, so let me take you into the dashboard now, just to show you what this looks like. Okay, so this is the Indeemo dashboard, and now what we're filtering on here is the food ordering experience project. And if I click on this here, we have the ability to set up multiple groups in a particular project. Okay, so we've grouped them into Deliveroo and Uber Eats, and then basically we've given them 6 tasks. So the tasks that I've shown you here in the keynote, basically you can filter on them here. So if I want to see, for example, how people order their meals on Uber Eats or Deliveroo, I can just filter by task and do a search. And now what you're starting to see, if I scroll down here, is you start to see people shopping online, right? So if I jump into this, for example, and play this video, I'm going to mute it here. So what we're showing now is we're showing you a user actually browsing through Deliveroo and searching for takeout. Okay, they've rated this as a very good experience. Okay, the task here is ordering your meal, and then what we've also done as well is we've automatically transcribed the video. So what you can do is you can skip up and down the video like this, and you can see what they're saying. So you can scan the transcript and you can move up and down. Again, very powerful at helping you. You know, video is very intensive. You don't want to spend all week looking at it. So you can move up and down the video. So this is a huge time saver. And if there's an interesting clip here, what you can do is you can actually trim that video, and you can drag the needles here and download short clips and put them in your reports. So again, very, very powerful at helping you understand user experiences and integrate video into your reports. Okay, you can also tag posts here and put on different tags as you're coding the data. So this is the Pinterest board type view. Okay, if I jump into the timeline view for a second, just to show you, now what we're doing is we're showing you the linear journeys. Okay, this is much more chronological ordered list. So again, you're starting to look at screen recordings here. Okay, and I can pause this again. I can, you know, she's checking the delivery. So now in the food ordering journey, we're showing you how the user is actually tracking the driver and seeing how the order is basically being delivered. Okay, so that's the capability around tasking. Getting into journeys, there's 2 important aspects here. One is if I filter by respondents, and if I look at Marie, for example, and filter on an individual respondent, and if I scroll to the very end, okay, now what you're seeing is you're seeing Marie doing a screen recording, browsing Google.
So I'm just going to have a look for something for my.
Okay, so she's on Google, she's searching. Okay, we can go ahead. You can see that she's getting screenshots of the status of the order. They're telling her that the order is actually running late. She's starting to get a little bit irate. Okay, she's getting very irate because Uber Eats are saying that delays don't happen very often. So what you're seeing here really is a slow-moving car crash of a really poor experience. So this is the screenshot by screenshot journey. Okay, showing you the food outside the microwave. It's cold. It doesn't look pretty good. She's clearly not a happy camper. And in fairness to Uber Eats, what they did was they actually refunded the order at the very end. So she's giving us a screenshot. Now, because she's been rating her experience in the moment, what we can do then is on this experience graph, now we can actually plot her journey. So this is what her journey looks like on a customer journey map. All right, started off very positively, and it obviously had a really terrible experience. So that's Marie's journey. If I want to now, what I can do is I can zoom back out of this, and instead of filtering on an individual respondent, I can filter across both groups. And now what I'm able to do is I'm able to compare Deliveroo and Uber Eats side by side. So what this is now is this is the average journey of a Deliveroo respondent versus an Uber Eats respondent. So you're getting a really quick visual snapshot of the highs and lows of the journey. And you can see here really that Deliveroo's low point was on the delivery experience. So if I want to interrogate that now, I can jump back in here, filter on Deliveroo feedback on the delivery, and then do a quick search and jump back into the board view. And now what I'm looking at is I'm looking at the videos of everybody where they're saying they really had a poor experience. So I can see basically that he can't find you, you need to go meet him. Again, another respondent had to leave the office and go find the rider again. So clearly they haven't figured out their rider experience yet. So this is the sort of richness that gets behind the Net Promoter Score. Okay, so that's the context of the food ordering experience one. I'll come back and we can do questions on this later. I'm conscious of time, obviously. If we jump back into the click and collect journey, this is probably more relevant to what's going on right now. These are typical tasks around a grocery click and collect customer journey audit. Okay, so again, I'll leave it here for a few seconds for you to see it. So there's a task around showing us how you plan your meal, so inspiration. Okay, and that's a screen recording. So it's Saturday night, you're going to cook a meal for your partner or the family. It shows where you get your inspiration. Okay, then go do a screen recording and actually do a click and collect for the first time and talk us through the experience. Okay, go to the supermarket and find the collection points. Okay, tell us about the experience, and then basically pick up the groceries and see how that was. So again, that metaphor of the on social or blogs looking for inspiration, on a website, either desktop or mobile, actually doing the shop, driving to the store, collecting the goods, another example of an omni-channel experience. Okay, and again, you can see the tasks here aren't very detailed, they're quite granular and light touch. Okay, if we jump in here now and we look at this, and I do a search on the click and collect experience, now what we're starting to see is we're starting to see the dashboards of everybody's upload. So if you're in the consumer space or FMCG, this is probably going to be more typical of what you're looking at. So we've got this Pinterest board view again of everybody's data. But now what I can do is I can filter on an individual respondent, for example. So again, if I go to Mary here and do a quick search, now you're seeing all of Mary's posts as a Pinterest board. We can do a collage of Mary if you just want to get a visual snapshot. Okay, so you get a really quick visual snapshot of her journey. And now what I can do basically is if I jump into the timeline view, you can follow her journey step by step. So if I scroll to the very bottom here, she's doing an intro selfie. Now what's really interesting is she's actually looking at Instagram here. So if I go to mute here, she's actually jumping into Instagram. So you actually, this is really important for apparel now as well. Okay, so what inspires the purchase? Okay, so if I skip through this, so you can see the transcripting, and I can jump back down. She's literally looking for ingredients on Instagram. Okay, and you get to, because she's tapping through the story, she's browsing around. So again, social is a channel. Okay, a huge part of any journey nowadays. What she's doing then, basically, if I jump back in again, I go to mute and just skip ahead here. She's actually she's doing an online shop now. Okay, and it's interesting here, she's actually selecting her collection slot first. Okay, and we found that to be a real inconvenience. So people have a much better expectation of click and collect because they're used to getting Amazon delivered the next day. So there's a lot of inconvenience around actually picking a slot. So in this particular journey, what she did was she reserved the slot first. And then basically if I jump ahead here on the video, then what she's doing is she's searching for Worcester sauce. She was struggling to spell it. So she's shopping using search. Okay, so what we found as well, a lot of people are going with the list and they're not really browsing so much. They're actually searching, and then you see these categories. You can get to see them shop online. I won't take you through this for too much longer. She stands outside the supermarket. She gives you a selfie video of her in the car park. She couldn't find the click and collect area. That was a common experience. You see the groceries that she's ordered. Now basically she's showing you how she's preparing the meal. So again, okay, she's chopping the onions or whether that looks great. And then you get the finished article here, which looks awesome. Okay, very typical consumer journey, online, offline, in store. If I'm to plot that out again as a graph now, this is Mary's journey. So she had a huge dip. So what you're seeing here is basically that the shopping experience and the collection experience is very, very poor. And if I jump back out and I average that across all respondents in the study, it's a low point on the journey. Okay, and again, what we can do is we can explode that out by different respondents, for example, and do a quick search. And now again, you're starting to see common patterns here. A lot of issue around collections. Okay, so what we give you is we give you the capability to go back to the client and say, look, you've got a real problem here, and here's the video showing you why. So it's a great way to bring the client, to bring the problem to life and get the client to act. All right, very quickly, conscious of time. So a few other things just before I wrap up, right? So omnichannel is very buzzwordy now. E-commerce, click and collect is really starting to trend, right? But we've been talking about this for years. We've been doing this for years. And the real kind of moment for us back in the day was we were doing a back to school study about 3 years ago, and a lady had gone across town to her local Walmart, to buy a scientific calculator. It said it was in stock. When she arrived, it wasn't. And she recorded this irate video while she was still standing inside in Walmart, where she was actually screen recording herself shopping on Amazon. So we have a screen recording of her buying something on Amazon, standing in Walmart, and we could hear the tannoy in the background. And that was a real metaphor for us, because actually they might even be standing in your supermarket, in your store, but they're probably buying from a competitor somewhere else. Okay. A few other learnings for you to think about maybe, and to kind of provoke clients to acting. So the battleground, so if you walk into a shopping mall now, you walk into Tesco, you're bombarded with stimulus and you've got peripheral vision. That's all gone online. So the battleground now is a few pixels wide and a few pixels tall. Okay. So it's really, really zoned in. So the whole thing has become very blinkered. Okay. And it's really intensive in terms of how do you get good ranking? How do you appear at the top of searches? And Amazon is the second most frequently used search engine on the planet now. Okay. The other thing we're noticing for sure is that not all search is the same. So if you're buying, toothpaste on offer, you'll tap on your mobile and you'll do that in a nanosecond. There is no consideration. 2 for 1, absolutely. If you're buying, an Oral-B electronic toothbrush, you're going to spend about an hour on Amazon browsing and looking at reviews. If you're buying a mattress, you'd probably spend a week. If you're buying a car, you'd probably spend 4 weeks. If you're doing a mortgage, you might take 3 months. Okay, so the concept of speed search is huge now. Is the search fast or is the search slow? And again, it's something to get your clients thinking. Okay, people are multi-banking, people are multi-shopping. So this double tap on the phone where they move from Carrefour to Amazon is another metaphor for the disruption of digital, right? Because they're looking at Nescafe Dolce Gusto 367 here, and it's more expensive on Carrefour. It's actually shopping here because delivery is free on Prime. So they're shopping, their weekly shop in 2 different locations, and they're completely price motivated. And we see that a lot where they're double tapping and they're doing something on Tesco and something on Sainsbury's, and it's done. Okay, so again, that was quite a profound thing to us. So geography, if you walk in store, you're going to have to buy in store. If you're sitting on your sofa on your mobile, you can shop anywhere because it's all going to arrive tomorrow anyway. Okay, so that's kind of a few metaphors. What's the best way to research omni-channel journeys as I wrap up? It's not about the platform, it's actually about the human being. So you got to think about the human, you got to figure out what journey they go on. Okay, and then you got to walk in their shoes for a period of time. And again, that's something that we can help you do on behalf of your customers. The other thing as well is to kind of move the clients back to the narrative of getting away from platforms and actually think about the humans. So this is the only framework that matters. These are human beings paying the bills basically. So we're big advocates actually that actually takes humans to understand humans, and people like you helping clients figure out irrational in the moment human behavior is absolutely more needed now than ever before. That's my propaganda pitch. I hope it's been useful. I'll pause there, Sally, and hopefully there might be some questions about this. Okay, thank you.
Okay, that was wonderful. Thanks very much, Eugene. Really interesting. Yes, we've got a couple of questions, but please, everybody, type your questions into the question box and I'll read them out. The first one we have is from Nanda, who can relate to what you've just said because she's recently bought a Casper mattress. So I think that was a lived experience.
Just for you, Nanda, fantastic.
If respondents are working from an app, how does it work when they're using a laptop? Do they have to manually take photos of what they are looking at, or do they have a desktop login too?
Yeah, so it depends, right? So we have a Chrome plugin, so you can do screen recordings on desktop using the Chrome browser, using Indeemo as well. Okay, so there's a bit of a design strategy on this. So let's say the desktop is one moment of a many milestone journey. Typically in that situation, what we advocate is that they still use the app just to record what's happening on screen, because the plugin, installing the plugin can be a little bit of friction. But if what we're seeing a lot now actually in consumer is, and especially with everybody working from home, is a lot of the grocery shopping is taking place on desktop now, and then the pop-ups are happening on mobile. Okay, so we have an increasing proportion of studies where it'll be desktop first and mobile second. Okay, so again, the fast answer is it works on Chrome using a plugin where you can do desktop screen recordings using Indeemo as well.
Okay, great. We've got another question from Toby. Hi there, what are your international capabilities, and are there any abilities to use other languages? He's particularly interested in Malaysia, so Malay and Chinese. Do you have any international capabilities there?
Yeah, so you can task in any language. Okay, so in the app, there's two components of language in the app. So there's the app that gets installed in the App Store. That's localized into 10 different languages, excuse me. So it's French, German, Italian, Spanish, Romanian, Brazilian, Portuguese for Latin America, obviously French for Canada. We've got simplified and traditional Chinese, we've got Japanese and Korean, okay? So in all of those markets, if you give us the task in the local language, the respondent has a 100% local language experience. Simplified Chinese we can handle completely. We don't have the app in Malay yet, so they would have the login screen in English, and some of the screens in the app would be in English, but all the tasks and all the interaction with the moderator can be done in Malay.
Okay, that seems to answer that question. So yeah, we've got another question from Carol. Thank you, that's really interesting. Do you use video in store? If so, how do you get around GDPR? Could you also talk through how clients use the information a bit more? E.g., do you find they subsequently need to quantify, for instance, customer service issues? So first of all, the GDPR element, how do you get around that?
Actually, it was interesting. So somebody asked us that yesterday for the first time in about 3.5 years. So we do a lot of in-store, and we've never had any issues. So I think it's usually point of purchase, very close to shelf. Okay, so the recommendation is you never really film anybody else, and it's always basically held like this, where you're showing them what's going on and you're reaching out. Okay, so that would be 99% of the videos. It's all point of view or selfie. So, and because it's private as well, there's rarely other faces in the data set, and if there is, you can delete that post. So we don't know what our clients negotiate with retailers, to be honest with you, but we've never had any issue. So that answers the first one. What's the second question? The second question was, what do clients do with the data?
Could you also talk through how clients use the information a bit more? For example, do you find they subsequently need to quantify, for instance, customer service issues?
Yeah, so it's mainly around customer experience and user experience. So a lot of this is being driven out of UX teams and product teams and design teams, okay, where you'll have a user researcher or an external consultant working for a technology-driven business trying to figure out human behavior. So the digital businesses, the B2B businesses out there are very good at looking at logs and analytics, but they don't do qual. And I think that's a huge opportunity for everybody here. So typically what we do is they do the screen recordings. You, an independent consultant, would prepare a report as you normally would with different themes and insights, and you present that back to the clients. Okay, so the client still gets a PowerPoint summarized and kind of analyzed by you with your magic sauce. And then what they have is the ability to log into Indeemo as observers and drill into the raw data. So they'll basically work from your report, and then they'll go in and they'll filter on those videos and they'll watch the entire video to see what the story is. So usually it would be a product manager who would be acting on that data. We're running studies in a couple of hotels right now, actually, where it's the CX team. It's actually somebody on the front desk is actually using this to intercept the guest experience when it's going negative and they're still in the hotel. So it's either a customer experience team or typically a product UX team that would be taking that data and using it in some shape or form. I hope that answers the question.
Okay, so we haven't got any more questions yet from the audience, but I have a question for you. I do quite a lot of B2B research, and I was wondering whether you had any experience of using this technology for maybe larger purchases or purchases that are where the thought process, the research goes on over quite an extended period of time. Just as an example, I recently bought a new laptop and it probably took me, at least a month to actually go from my initial research to finally going through the process of setting it up and using it today. So
interesting, yeah. So painful journey.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, just what experience have you got of using this in a more B2B or high price purchase bracket?
Yeah, so look, So automotive path to purchase. So several years ago, this technology was used by Auto Trader. They did a huge amount of research into the automotive path to purchase, and they published a lot of research online as a consequence. Okay, and when they won a gold medal at the Aura Awards, I think it might have been 2 years ago, and what they were raving about was this mobile ethnography approach. Okay, so that was groundbreaking for them. The other one would be smart TVs or refrigerators, typically 6 to 8 week journeys. Okay, so we've done studies for a major electronics brand where France, Germany, UK, where people are buying refrigerators or washing machines or white goods. Again, 6 to 8 weeks. They found the Germans were very decisive and transacted very quickly, whereas people in the UK were quite slow. Okay, so in those ones where you've got an extremely long purchase and the client is in a rush, sometimes we see clients coming in recruiting respondents at different points of a journey. So if you take the home buying journey, okay, we've done a couple of studies on that, so they're really, really complex, obviously year-long studies. So what they'll recruit and screen is people who are just thinking about it, people who are in the process of looking, people who are very, very close to transacting. What they do then is, instead of waiting 12 months to get people to go through the natural journey, they're kind of stacking the phases and they're compressing everything into a shorter period of time, right? So those are some recruitment strategies that we see happening. Again, with those journeys, it's important to say, actually, sometimes customers haven't a clue what their purchase journey is. Okay, so in those situations, really, we advocate a very open-ended approach where you just tell the respondents to record every screen online experience, take a screenshot, take videos, and just show you everything they're doing in relation to their journey. So sometimes we do multi-phase studies where it's very open-ended and organic at the start, where respondents are kind of showing you au natural what they're doing without any prompting. And then downstream, we'll come back and do a second phase to audit specific learnings from the first phase. Okay, so this journey mapping thing can be quite exploratory, or it can be quite audit-based as well, depending on where your client is at. Okay, B2B typically takes longer. You need to over-recruit by 50%. You're a distraction, not a bonus. So again, we've got a lot of expertise in B2B, especially around pharma and healthcare as well. We're happy to kind of talk further with somebody if they've got some projects.
Okay, that's great. I would expect people forgetting to use the app all the time. How do you address issues with not continuous reporting?
Very simple. So this is like a social networking app. So you can comment on their post, you establish a dialogue very quickly. We've got push notification reminders. Our average completion rate is north of 90% cross studies, so not a problem. And again, this is a native app versus there's lots of tools out there that were browser-based or multi-platform. But if it's a browser-based tool, you're relying, you're in Safari, they do one Google search, they're logged out. With Indeemo, they're logged in, native app with push notifications, always on for the duration of the study. So absolutely not a problem. It's extremely engaging.
Okay, yeah, I've got another question here from Andrew. Have you guys done projects in Africa? And if so, how successful have they been?
Not many, right? So we've done a lot of South Africa. I just don't think the budgets are there, and I think the connectivity is poor. So we haven't done much actually in Africa apart from South Africa. All right, but I think it's a huge opportunity, to be honest. But yeah, we haven't had much traction there yet. So that's the fast answer, I guess.
So how did it work in South Africa?
Good. I think, look, in those like in the developing economies, connectivity is either poor or very expensive. Okay. So what we have is we have the ability to change the video settings, so we can actually adjust the compression rate of video. So we can make the video extremely low res and extremely highly compressed. So when people are uploading, it doesn't cost a fortune. So it's usually the challenge. So we have a unique technology that makes the video very low res, and as a result consumes very little data in markets like that. So that's common in Latin America, it'd be common as well in South Africa. It's worked well, actually. It's worked well, yeah.
Okay, good. Well, that looks like the last question, just in case, unless people have got last minute questions to add to it. No, I think that's it. I don't think I've missed anything. So just remains to say thank you very much, Eugene. That's another very interesting webinar for us. Thanks everybody for logging in and for taking part. Oh, there are a couple of nice comments coming through. Thank you very much, really interesting. Fantastic tech, many thanks, very interesting. So quite a lot of positive feedback there.
Brilliant.
Okay,
No, it's been my pleasure. And as I say, look, you know where we are. Get in touch. Again, look, it's challenging environment. So if we can give you some strategies or pointers to help you kind of pitch new business, pick up the phone, give us a shout, okay?
That's really useful. And just to repeat that Indeemo are offering a 15% discount to us at the ICG until the end of the year. So don't forget that, guys, if you're interested in trialing this tool. So that's it, I think, from us. Goodbye to everybody. Goodbye to Eugene, and look forward to seeing you all again at the next webinar.
Take care. Thanks very much.